Bacteria can be counter-productive, counter-attacked with chemicals that have been built in today. But I'm saying about viruses. A virus, you'll never have a full 100% vaccine for any virus that's ever existed. Viruses will always be, and your immune system will have to deal with it. Like, tell me a vaccine that's been created for bird flu. H1N1 vaccine.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know.
How about swine flu vaccine?
Apparently there was supposed to be one, but to be honest, from what I know, they treated everyone with Tamiflu, which was basically a course of antibiotics.
So what about a vaccine for a runny nose or a sore throat?
Don't you get over the counter stuff, innit?
Yeah, so that's bacteria, so that can be dealt with, but viruses can't be dealt with like that. Yo, what's going on, people? Big up yourselves all the time, every time. Welcome back to another episode of Real Fake News with myself, Jago. And today I have
Renee. Hello, hi, hope you're all good.
Yeah, Tipsy Talk, Drunk with Jay, Tipsy Talk, Wavy Wednesday, champagne, the conversation, bent before bed. I'm cramping up, man. I don't know what's going on.
Yo, man, like, you know what time it is. Let's do this, man.
Jeez. So, another week, guys, of madness happening around us. And this week, what's really kind of hit home for me is government moves of limiting households to 6, sending kids back to school when they know that the corona is still about, and knowing that it's going to be more likely kicked up again in schools. Pushed up businesses, making sure businesses are still running, so people are still happening in businesses. I'm not even too sure if there's still a 2-meter rule, because where I work, people don't even care about if they're a meter away from people. It's just normal. And the masks, obviously. Are the masks actually helping?
I don't think they're helping it. I think they might be helping a little bit, like maybe when it comes to the old people and that. But other than that, not really. I don't see many people wearing them anymore. No, but I don't see people wearing them anymore. Not where I am anyway. Not many people wear them anymore.
The way so
people
easy
are wearing
to
them where I
barriers.
am. Sorry, go on.
Not many people.
Also, the train station is so easy to bump these barriers now. All you have to do is just mask up so the CCT can't see your face properly, and bulge you. Yo, I love the mask era now.
Bro, I'll be real. Like, I don't really see. Remember, and where I work as well, bro. There's a lot of people that don't even believe this coronavirus is real. Doesn't exist. There's no coronavirus out there at all. Don't get me wrong here, but I always say, like, if that's the case, then what did my mum get? You know what I mean? I don't think it was. I think it was worse than that. You know what I mean? Like, you know, I think it was worse than that. I saw her, like. You know what I mean? Like, it's peak, bro. Them thing there peak, bro. So it's not nice, bro. So
yeah, obviously we all know that this coronavirus has been about for decades. It's just a COVID-19 mutation, which is different now. And the mask itself, if it's preventing it, then realistically they should be sending kids back to school with masks, no?
Yeah, there should be, but I think there's still all this confusion because remember at the beginning how it was only old people who could get the coronavirus, then it changed to black people are more susceptible to it, and then now it's changed to all the younger people now. They're the issue and they're the problem. So there's like a whole heap of confusion. So, but I mean, to be honest with you, I don't understand why the kids don't have to do it. It doesn't make any sense really. Ideally, like they should. And then it's like, for example, if they get it, they may not be affected by it, but let's say they're a carrier and then they pass it on to a teacher or somebody who, because they're adults, you know, they'll be more susceptible to get it and could obviously go for the worst could happen.
Yeah. I'm just a question to what, do you think this could be like a secret herd immunity?
Do you know what?
It could.
After a lot of thinking and what's going on, like the government don't have a clue. Like they
don't
messed
they don't.
up. They've messed up so bad. You can't even say that they're doing things on purpose now, because who would want to look that bad?
No, it's
When
true.
you think about it, in
It's
actual
true.
fact, who would come out looking? It just doesn't make sense. They're actually just clueless. Clueless.
No, that makes perfect sense to me, man. Like I believe they've been very lax. Like they've watched what other countries have done and gone, oh no, we're not going to do that. We'll just wait a minute. You know what I mean? And when it's got a bit too late, they've decided to go, oh, maybe we should do something now. You know what I mean? That's what it feels to me. I think they've just been very lax and they haven't been educated enough. They didn't want to go and try and get that information or try and get the research, even though there was exercises that were done years before, just in case something like this did happen. You know what I mean? We all know Bill Gates talked about something like this way back in 2015. Then there was exercise sickness as well. You know what I mean? There's so many different things that showed about to do with a pandemic. And it's like we just went, I don't know if we believe that much. I think we're just going to chill and see what happens. And then when people started dying, they were like, oh, let's wait a couple more minutes, but this is getting more serious. Then the Prime Minister got it. And then it was like, oh no, this is serious now. We need to do something.
Then all the celebrities were getting it as well.
Exactly.
And then
So,
it was like, ooh.
Yeah, then they started getting, everything started getting a bit uppity, you know what I mean? So, yeah, it's lax, just really lax, you know what I mean? And as you said, clueless, lax and clueless.
One thing that confuses me is that I understand fear of high mortality infections and viruses, but with low fatality, when I say low fatality, I mean like not even 1% of a fatality.
Measles.
Well, they're saying it's gone up though, isn't it?
Well, I mean,
They said it's gone up to between 1 and 1.2. That's what they've said.
On a percentage of it, realistically, is less than percentage of many other bacteria and viruses that are killing people right now. But there will never ever be hype on the other ones. So I don't understand why people are so scared of catching this. And
because they don't have a vaccine, that's why I think.
Yeah, but I mean, we don't have a vaccine for any virus, and we still catch all the viruses.
Here's the thing though, we do have a vaccine, it's just not licensed. We just don't know how effective it is or what it will do to people.
Yeah, but the vaccine will never be 100% effective to a virus. To a bacteria maybe, because a bacteria can be attacked and can be stopped. But a virus is something which your immune system has to deal with anyway. So whichever way you get a vaccine or not, your immune system is still going to have to go through that coronavirus, whether it was when we were 2 years old or whether it is when we're 80 years old. Remember, this virus has been about since we've all been born, way before we've been born. So we can.
Yeah, but this is a different strain, though, isn't it? So a strain that is not, that they don't know.
It's not common.
Yeah. Whereas the other things, like, it's just like, I don't know, what is it, chicken pox and something else? Like, once you've got that, you won't get it. Measles. Once you've had it, you won't get it again. But it's not to say that it's not still around. Yeah, it may still be around, but the chances of you getting it again is very, very low, or it's not going to happen. So whereas with this, is that...
Bacteria. That's all bacteria. We're talking about viruses, a completely different kettle. Bacteria can be counter-attacked with chemicals that have been built in today, but I'm saying about viruses. A virus, you'll never have a full 100% vaccine for any virus that's ever existed. Viruses will always be, and your immune system will have to deal with it. Like, tell me a vaccine that's been created for bird flu. H1N1 vaccine.
I don't know. I have no idea.
I don't know.
How about swine flu vaccine?
Apparently there was supposed to be one, but to be honest, from what I know, they treated everyone with Tamiflu, which was basically a course of antibiotics.
So what about a vaccine for a runny nose or a sore throat?
No, you get over-the-counter stuff, innit?
Yeah, so that's bacteria, so that can be dealt with, but viruses can't be dealt with like that. So what I'm saying is that with this vaccine, I don't understand how people are so scared of a virus when throughout our whole lives we've been contracting viruses and fighting viruses in our body.
Yeah, but this one,
but you know what?
this one is killing people, bro.
Yeah,
Like this one has killed people, so it would be scary.
All viruses kill people, and all viruses kill people at different rates. And this rate of this virus,
but this rate has been quick and it's spread real quick. That's gonna cause some sort of worry, innit?
But that's infection rate. That's infection rate. Infection rate is nothing. So what? If 100% of the world gets an infection, yeah, and the infection has 0% death rate, then no one's gonna die. Everyone's immune system's gonna get stronger.
You gotta remember that's something dope, bro. People are not gonna think about them sort of things. They're just gonna think, oh, there's a virus about, people are dying. That's what they're thinking about. They're not thinking about certain numbers or certain other things that we might think about or that we're talking about now. Most of the people, most of the public will be like, there's a virus out on the planet and it's wiping people out. They're gonna get worried and scared over that, bro. It will still class it as scary.
But they've seen that it's not wiping people out.
Yeah, now they might be seeing things like that now, but at first, bruv, like it just turned up and it was killing people.
Yeah, so
it was scary. It was scary at that moment.
We're talking about the second wave now, though. We're talking about what happened before.
Yeah, but I believe like the second, as I've said, I think the second wave has partly more to do with the government and the way they're going to carry on with things rather than the virus getting people. That's what's going to cause the chaos and the madness. I think the government's going to do that. Not just I think the virus is just a part of that. The government's going to be an even bigger part of that, I think. Because of all their scaremongering tactics and what they're going to do, which is going to cause chaos and fear throughout the public.
So what's the motive of pushing the second wave? What is it, to put down more policies, to get people to follow more rules and regulations?
Maybe. Maybe.
I don't agree. Like they can't push a second wave. If a second wave happens, which I
That's
don't
what they're
believe
trying to do. They're trying to do that now, though, Renee. They are trying to do. They are basically trying to push the a second wave is coming. A second wave is coming. Like they're basically that's what they're basically saying now.
That's what they're saying. That they're predicting that a second wave is coming. They're not pushing a second wave is coming.
Well,
from the way they're talking right now, if they're saying they're not pushing it, then I don't believe them.
The difference between predicting and pushing is saying something and having people hear it, and pushing it is by putting in regulations so to prevent what's going to happen. So all these regulations of the 6 in the house and all the rest of it, that is pushing the second wave. That's saying that there's going to be a second wave, so we're going to push regulations onto you, which you're going to have to abide by because of the second wave. So that's a push.
So it's not pushing a second wave, it's pushing regulations, you mean? So
regulations on a second wave, yeah, based on the second wave. Because if there wasn't a second wave, then regulations wouldn't be pushed. So it's based on the narrative, which is the second wave. That's the push.
Okay, so with this whole push of, let's say, these regulations, it's like, in your opinion, explain to me what the benefit of this is, because when you think about it, some of the regulations that they're imposing make sense. Not that I agree, but I mean, they make sense. If there's a virus going about, you would think it is sensible to not be so close to people, to wear masks, all these things which could help prevent, not necessarily eradicate, but help prevent. But what do you think the deeper meaning of it is?
Well, it's not a deeper meaning.
Other than trying to have control over people, other than that. So
obviously for me, yeah, like I said, when we're saying push, it's about making people believe and making people live by certain rules and regulations. That's the influence, and the influence is basically the push. I don't know what the motive is. Like, do they want to add more regulations to really restrict us? I don't know, innit? But what I do know in history is that, again, we have been through very different viruses in our life, and it's never been a point where they've said to us, listen, wear masks, listen, step 2 meters away from each other, listen, make sure you're washing your hands every 5 minutes. They always push health and hygiene and fitness through social media and through our TV, but they've never, ever, through any of my lifetime of 40 years, for all the viruses that I have been through myself personally, have they never said never been a push of make sure you're doing this. If you don't do this, then you'll get fined and penalty. So in that, I don't see the reason why there is such a massive hype behind you know, we've got to be living this way, and there is going to be a second wave. So we've told you, we've shown you about the first wave, we've shown you how it works, we've shown you all the numbers that happen, we've shown you how it spread, we've shown you all the rest of it. We know that other countries now are seeing a second wave so far, and even certain places in the UK saw certain jumps and spikes in coronavirus when they started locking down again, yeah? So we are going to expect a second wave. I mean, that in itself is...
But I think what you've got to see is that this virus is a new virus. So you can't expect the way that they treated another virus to treat this one exactly the same. So the way this is transmitted, or whatever it is giving cause for the things that they're trying to enforce, like with the masks and things like that. So let's say, for example, there was a virus which didn't transmit through the same way that this COVID was. You're not going to tell them to wear masks when that is ineffective to what that virus is, if that makes sense.
If that argument had any legs to stand on, viruses travel via air or via surfaces. Regardless of the virus or what the virus does, the way it's transmitted is always going to be the same way throughout human beings. It's going to be transmitted through the air if it's that infectious, or it could be transmitted via hard surfaces. It's never going to be...
But HIV is a virus, no?
Of course.
Yeah.
It's not transmitted through the air, is it?
That's transmitted through blood, yeah.
But it's not transmitted through the air.
So that itself, yeah, obviously is a different type of virus, but it's still, yeah, regardless.
Exactly.
Yeah,
so the point is, it's a different type.
Okay, regardless, you wouldn't wear masks if you got, you wouldn't wear masks if you had AIDS anyway, so that doesn't really work with that one. But what we're saying is that the level of transmission, yeah, if it's airborne or if it's on surface, yeah, regardless, they're going to be the same regardless of the virus, except for blood, obviously transfused viruses, which you can catch in hospitals and all the rest of it. But any other virus, like COVID isn't blood transfused. So you can't compare blood, you can't compare COVID-19 to something like HIV, but you can compare it to something like H1N1, which was transmitted through air and through the rest of it. They never had them in them places.
Fair enough, okay. I mean, a virus is a virus, isn't it? So whichever way, but you've got to think over time, things mutate and things can develop and get stronger. So whereas whatever virus was before, is not going to have the same components as what this virus has today. So again, my point is that you're going to treat different viruses differently, regardless whether it's airborne or surface or transmitted through surface or whatever. Like you're still going to treat it different. So from 10 years, 20 years from now, we could have 30, 40 years from now, we could have another major virus or pandemic which hits us, which is going to be even worse than this one is, but due to mutations and, different things.
Yeah, I hear that. I'll give you an example. H1N1 was a airborne one and surface one. Yeah. Same with COVID-19 is airborne and it's surface-based, yeah? Now, we're not talking about the virus itself, we're talking about the prevention of the virus, yeah? So to prevent an airborne virus is to wear a mask, regardless if it was coronavirus, swine flu, or H1N1, which was all air transmitted. So that's a prevention for air transmission. Now, if it's transmitted through blood, you're not going to wear a mask because it's not going to prevent that. So what you're going to wear stuff that can prevent you from getting blood inside of you. But you wouldn't wear stuff that you would wear if it was airborne or surface-borne. So if a virus is airborne, yeah, regardless of the strength of it, like H1N1 had a higher mortality rate than coronavirus, but a lower infection rate than coronavirus. So realistically, in that virus situation, that's when they should have pushed masks onto us, because that would have prevented us from dying more so than coronavirus has. Coronavirus's mortality rate is so low, I don't understand why they have gone so high in the prevention of stopping something when they've never done this in history, of going so high with something which is so low. Is normally, if it's something like say with AIDS, people who work around AIDS have always got gloves on and all the rest of it, so blood, and they've got masks on, so blood pops into them, they're safe in it. And that's that's how it's been with AIDS, because it's a high mortality virus. But low mortality viruses like H1N1, they said, listen, get your virus, get your jab, whatever, go through the thing. Don't worry about any extra hygienic thing. You don't need to wash your hands 4 times a day. Like, this virus is spreading through surfaces, but don't worry about washing your hands 4 times. It's just crazy to me. It don't make no sense to me, innit? Like, it's consistency of understanding of the threat. And if you're like throwing in different numbers, it just doesn't make no sense to me, innit?
Yeah, I know. I hear what you're saying. It makes sense. But I guess for now, it's like a silent killer, this one, isn't it? And it's like the unknown. You know, we're all scared of the unknown. Yeah, and we're not 100% on this virus.
The only thing that I believe I would have to say on it is the fact of, well, I hear what both of you are saying, but then obviously we've had pandemics before. If so, couldn't we get the information of how that pandemic ran and try and build upon that information, which we haven't done? I believe other countries have gone and done that, but we haven't. We know that, as we know, viruses are on this planet to learn and get stronger and mutate all the time. You know what I mean? That's their job. Their job is to make sure they get stronger to try and wipe us out. You know what I mean? Unfortunately, like, the coronavirus done quite well at the beginning. You know what I mean? It's slowed down now. Unfortunately, this country likes to go on like to say that this is the most virulent virus that's ever walked this earth. You know what I mean? Which we understand it actually ain't. It ain't as virulent as they make it out to be. But, you know, again, I just think that's the government playing to that and causing us lot, trying to get us lot to do what they want by causing a little bit of chaos by acting the way they're acting. Lax, lazy. I think we should have took that pandemic information of the pandemic itself, not the virus, but how we dealt with the pandemic itself, and built on that.
I agree.
Information. You know what I mean? If we built on that information, it might have been a bit better. You know?
It should have been dealt with differently.
That's science 101. I don't know why you're gonna go that way.
I don't know. I have no clue. But I thought that would be something that you'd naturally go to in your brain, innit? You'd naturally think, right, this has happened, this is how we dealt with it. If this happens again, we need to build on that information so we can deal with it again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But unfortunately, that has not happened.
Yeah, for whatever reason.
So what I mean, these what I want to get to is, where is this going to end up? Are people going to follow these rules and then it's just going to go down that route, or are people going to start conflicting and it's going to start civil wars in countries and stuff?
Don't know about civil wars, but I think
it's definitely going to cause unrest. There's going to be unrest.
Yeah, civil unrest.
There's definitely going to be unrest, 100%.
Yeah.
I believe there'll be
the civil war. Yeah, of course, in America, innit?
When
When Trump wins, or when Trump loses, innit?
Well, I'll let you know now, in America, mate, anything can happen, innit? That's like the Wild Wild West all over again in America. You know what I mean?
True.
But in other countries, I don't know. I just believe it depends on the state of the country at the time. If you've got countries that are like what you call quite powerful countries, like high finance countries, I don't think that there'll be less unrest in them countries because they can still deal with it somewhat. You know what I mean? But the countries I believe with less income the unrest might get a bit much. It might do. You know what I mean? I don't know, but I think it could do, and it could get mad, like over here or in America, like it's been doing. And you know what I mean? I'm not saying it can't happen everywhere, but I just think that to begin with, it will be more countries with a lower income than, say, an America or a Britain, you know what I mean, or a country or France even, or something like that have got a certain income. They can still kind of shut their country up, if you get what I mean.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But once they can't shut up their country, or once they can't provide what they think the country will want, not need, want at that time, you know what I mean? Then I think that unrest will start happening, and then maybe you will see a few people want to start rebelling, and it causes a madness then, isn't it?
Right.
Again, there's only one guy that's gonna save us all.
Who's that?
You laughed at him. William Smith, man.
Will Smith.
Think
Bruv,
about
as
it. No, think
long
about
as,
it.
as
Look how
long
much
as
time
Jade
Will
is
Smith
not in
saved
no
us.
entanglements, maybe. As long
No,
as
that's
no,
why, because you lot stressed him out. But you lot forgetting Hancock,
who stressed him out?
Independence
I didn't
Day,
stress him out.
Men in
His
Black,
wife stressed him
1,
out.
2,
I did not stress him out.
3.
Bruv,
Yeah, you
I
lot
did
made
not
fun
stress
of
him
him.
out.
I saw the
I
memes
did
and
not
that,
make
crime
fun of him,
memes and
bruv.
that.
I just laughed, innit? All right, cool. I'm very sorry, Will Smith. I laughed at your misfortune. But unfortunately, I truly believe it's your own fault. Yeah? All right? That's what I'm saying.
It's not his own fault,
Bro,
man. He was
it's
busy
no
sorting out the
fault.
Fresh Prince of Bel-Air
Bro, man,
30th
watch
episode.
that happen, bro. He watched it happen and let it. Tell me he didn't.
Nah,
Tell me
he's
he
too
didn't.
busy saving the world.
Too busy saving the world. Bruv.
He's too busy.
What?
You
In
don't forget-
YouTube
you don't-
Rewind? Yeah, that's sick. That's sick. Yeah. Like YouTube
Hey.
Rewind. Yeah, all right. Okay.
Put some respect on Hancock's name, man.
When he stops drinking.
That's what I'm saying. Williams, he's gonna save us, man. Trust me, man. That's why I'm not panicking. Why do you think I'm so relaxed, isn't it?
Right. Well, let's hope Will Smith can do something. I hope he can. On a level. Let's hope someone can, innit? So let's hope someone.
So you should have voted for Corbyn. We were in trouble
Bruv,
now, aren't you?
I did, bro. I did, innit?
You all laughed at me when I said Corbyn.
Nah, bruv. Everyone laughed at me too, bruv. I voted Corbyn.
Hey.
So, yeah.
But quick question, just randomly, what do you guys make of, because obviously they're saying, like now I'm just seeing another 3,899 UK cases reported as rule breakers to face big fines.
Yeah, these fines are up to 10 grand apparently.
Yeah.
These are what they class as their self-isolation laws or whatever
Break it down to me. How can they fine you? What can they fine you for exactly?
So
breaking the rules that they've imposed. So I guess with the more than 6 people grouped together.
And also with self-isolation as well. They're trying to say if you've been told to self-isolate and you break that, you can be fined up to 10 grand.
So wait. So how do they know that you've been told to self-isolate?
Bruv, you're asking me? I don't know.
Because they'll take, so when you go to the, so if you're coming from a country where you need to self-isolate from, they take your details at the airport.
Okay.
And I'm knowing that some airports, they're not even taking people's details. Some people are getting away with just walking through. But
oh wow,
the thing is that they take your details, and then obviously if you're one of those passengers, they will tell you that you need to self-isolate. Yeah. Or if you're coming back from that country anyway, you already know you're going to have to self-isolate. So if you're somehow not caught, if you are somehow caught, they will already have your details. But again, I don't know how they would find out from you leaving.
Yeah. At the airport?
Say that again?
Who's taking the details at the airport?
I guess there'll be like a desk for the incoming people. There'll be a desk where you've got to basically sign your details. Or they may even do it on the plane. You know how they do, I don't know, I can't even speak. You know how you do little surveys and stuff? Sometimes they'll give it you near the end of your flight. Yeah. It could be something like that.
What I don't understand is that if I came back today for France, and I went to work tomorrow, and I just worked as normal, like, how would they know that I have been on holiday? Here's what I don't understand. How do they know that I've been away or not?
Well, I guess they wouldn't, would they, unless you've told them. But it's just weird
check
because
your
there's
Instagram.
some people, they'll check Instagram.
Hey, they'll check your social media, mate.
There's been some people who have, so on the plane, I don't know if you've heard like before, like a month or so ago, so they had to stop a plane and didn't let the plane fly because somebody on the plane had COVID. But what they said was that somebody's just received a message saying that they got a positive result. And it's like, how did they know that? Like, I don't know. Yeah. But somehow they found out that information while the plane was about to take off, that somebody had received a positive result by a message.
That is mad. How would they know that?
Yeah, I don't know.
They went for a COVID test before they went on a flight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
True that.
I just understand
but then how?
Policies and penalties, man. Because I mean, on the spot penalties, like if you have to wear a mask in a certain place and you're not wearing a mask, I can understand how they can impose that, so they can just catch you there and then and take the details, whatever you got on you, innit? Like, you haven't really got a trace at that point unless you won and won. If you won, then okay, you won, innit? But other than that, I'm thinking, like, all these other things of you have to self-isolate. Like, if I took a test now and I got positive, saying that I've got positive for COVID-19, who else in my whole life that I'm doing in this whole 2 weeks is going to know that I have had a test and that I'm positive? No one. And I don't understand how they can police stuff like that, man.
Well, they're picking the choose, isn't it? They definitely can't police it at all, but they'll be
They ain't got the
selective.
manpower for that. I don't believe they've got the manpower to do that. Hence why you've seen all the police adverts, recruiting adverts.
The only way they can realistically do it, yeah, is when you've been tested, the test goes onto a digital record that the police have, and when the police stop you, they ask, in the question they ask you, they will ask you, have you had are you COVID positive? Have you had a COVID test? That's the only way they can catch you, the police stopping you on a random thing. Other than that, there's hardly, it has to literally go on the system. They can't just write down on a piece of paper and think that they've got your name and that's it, that your name and that. Well, I don't understand it, man. That's crazy for me, bro.
But then that's another question. Police don't have access to medical records.
No.
So, yeah. So, you know, that's another thing that, you know, it's not as if it's something that they'd be able to search up, because your medical records are your medical records, aren't they?
Exactly.
And nobody has access to them
yeah.
unless you give them access.
I don't know who my doctor is, innit? So what do I do about my medical records then?
You need to contact your GP. Are you with a GP? You're not registered to a GP?
So, you know, like, if you need to go and get antibiotics or something, you got a local doctors you go to?
I'm never ill.
Yeah, but sometimes you need to go to the doctor.
I go to is like clinic, innit? That's the thing, doctor. I'm not.
I love it. I love that.
You are the GOAT, fam. I swear.
Like, you know when you like apply for a job and that, like you get the job and you have to write like your doctor's details and that. I don't know. I never put nothing there, innit? Or I just make it. I just put my uncle's name there, something like that.
Well, if
yeah,
that's
you have
the
to
case,
do that now.
Yeah.
But I don't know, like, medical. I don't know my medical details, innit? Like, I think I might have arthritis. I don't know, innit? Like, I was like 8 lately. I don't know what's going on.
Couldn't he phone the hospital? Couldn't he phone these local hospital?
You can. It's PCSE. You can request them. You can request your medical records. It's a lot easier, I guess, if you're with a GP, because whatever GP you're with, they should have all of your medical records and they'll be able to provide it for you. But if there's problems, which I had problems with some of my medical history being lost, it's PCSE that you have to contact.
Okay. He's like, well, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm so confused how this thing works. I'm telling you, I don't know a clue what's going on. I just walk in, ask for condoms, and leave, innit? Take the test, and I don't wait back for the results.
Hey, listen, that's
what.
Help yourselves, everyone. Thanks for watching. Make sure you subscribe. Press this button here right now. Jeez.
Yo, press this big red button.
Press this button. Here.
Yeah, button. Button. Red one.